So I'm going to welcome you all for attending the All Florida Real Estate School's first free class. For Form Simplicity, this is going to be an intro class. So what we're going to be working on first, this is me. I'm going to be your instructor today. I'm the director of the school. I'm also an instructor with the school here. And I've trained with Florida Realtors to teach the Form Simplicity class as well. So today our goals in part one here, we're going to learn how to create the new transaction file. We're going to prepare and write a contract. We're going to know the difference between what forms are and what files are, how to add a form to from the Florida Realtors library, how to upload outside documents and files, how to use the sharing tool, and then in part two, we'll see a demo of the e-sign online and overview the basics of the e-sign program. All right, when you're using Form Simplicity, the browser is important. So right now, the preferred browsers are going to be Firefox and Internet Explorer or Safari if you're using a Mac. What's not compatible right now is Chrome, the most recent version, Chrome 45. Doesn't work at all with Form Simplicity. So if you're using Chrome, Form Simplicity does not work. The other thing it's not compatible is if you've upgraded to Windows 10. The Edge browser does not work at all with Form Simplicity. So has anybody upgraded to Windows 10 yet? You have?
Yeah.
Okay. IE 11 should still be there in Windows 10. Do you know how to get IE 11 back on your computer? Good. Okay. So just don't use the Edge browser. Windows 10 is fine, just not that specific browser. All right. Also, and I have highlighted here at the bottom, when in doubt, call the tech helpline through Florida Realtors. This is a free service. This is part of your benefits of being a member of the Florida Realtors. So 407-587-1450. These guys are fantastic. They really know Form Simplicity inside and out. But you can call them for not just Form Simplicity questions. They're there to help you with pretty much any question that you need tech-wise. If you're having trouble at home connecting your printer to your computer, something's not working right, MLS isn't working right, if you've got a virus in your computer, give them a call because they are a free tech service that is there to help us. They're located in Orlando too, so that's a nice benefit because they are here, they are local, so we're not calling some distant galaxy and getting God knows who. We're actually talking to a regular person that's local here in Florida, and they're pretty quick. They also have a chat line too, so if you don't want to call, you can also chat through your computer. One thing that they can do is while you're on the phone with them, they can get access of your computer. You have to allow them access. They'll tell you to go to a specific website, and you'll type in a couple of numbers, and you'll authorize them to take control of your computer from a distance. So then once they have that, they're going to move your mouse. They're going to type in what needs to be typed in. They're going to see exactly what's on your screen. So you don't have to just try to verbalize what's happening. They can actually see what's happening. That's a huge benefit. So I say definitely take advantage of that. All right, why should you use Form Simplicity? Number one, it's much, much faster than writing a contract by hand, far faster. It contains all the information that you need in one place. So all of the forms that you're going to need for nearly any contract you'll ever write is already prepared inside Form Simplicity. You can access the forms from any internet device. I still say the computer is preferred, laptop, PC, desktop. Most of the Florida Realtors forms are mobile optimized, so you can fill these out on a tablet or a smartphone. While it's possible, it's still not the preferred method. It would probably take me 3 times as long to attempt to do this on an iPad rather than just go back to the office and type it on a computer. It'd be far, far faster. I think in the future we'll get there, that it'll move quicker on a mobile platform, but we're just not there just yet. But it does work if you have to. It's easier to update or make changes to the contract that you already wrote. If you're handwriting contracts and you misspell somebody's name, well, if this is an offer, it would look bad to just scratch it out and write in their name, so then you ended up writing the whole page all over again. If it's later on in a negotiation, it's so much easier to go right back into your Form Simplicity file, make the changes that you need for the counteroffer, and then send it off again. Or if you had a verbal counter and you just want to update those changes on the contract, then get that signed. So you don't have to rewrite or reinvent the wheel each time. It's a neat and clean contract. It's more professional looking than a handwritten one. I'm a big proponent of making sure that everything I do looks as clean and professional as possible. So oftentimes we get these contracts that have been scanned and faxed so many times that nobody can read them. And then once it gets to the lender is going to make sure that they get a clean copy. So if we use Form Simplicity and we go even a step further beyond that and use e-sign, we have the clearest copy imaginable. There's actually no loss in clarity on any of the forms. But even if we just type it in Form Simplicity and send it off for signatures, it's still going to be a lot clearer than handwritten contracts. Also, you can easily email the prepared contract to your customer. So if you want to send the contract or a listing agreement to a customer even before you fill it out, if they want to review it, you can just go into Form Simplicity, grab the form that you want to send to them, email it off to them, and it's really, really quick. And that's easy to do on your phone or tablet. So if you're out in the field and your customer wants to review a copy of the standard contract, that they're considering making an offer, it could take you, 2 or 3 minutes to go right from your phone, log into Form Simplicity, grab the file, and email it off to them. So you don't have to come back to the office and or call anybody to get a scanned copy sent off. It's really, really quick. All right, next thing is there's the available upgrade. All Florida Realtors, we automatically have what's called the Professional Edition. That gives you everything in Form Simplicity as far as writing the contracts, creating them, saving them, emailing them, printing them. All that's free. It's included with our Florida Realtors membership. But the upgrade to the Ultimate Edition is $59 for the year. I highly, highly recommend it because you get two big things. Number one, unlimited e-sign transactions. So there's no limit to how many contracts you write a month and get them e-signed. In fact, anything is available to be e-signed. It doesn't have to be a Florida Realtors form. Any document that you have, if you want an electronic signature, you can run it through the Form Simplicity website and get it signed. So maybe you're selling, I don't know, a tennis racket off of Craigslist and you want a contract for that. You could write your contract, upload it to Form Simplicity, send it off for e-sign, and get that signed. So it's a huge benefit there. Unlimited storage. There's no limit once you have the Ultimate package to how many files you have in Form Simplicity. So if you just have the free package, there's a set limit of memory of how much storage you can have, and it's pretty substantial. It's not really a small file amount that you have there. But if you're just using the free version, over time, probably within a year of writing offers and contracts, you'll probably start, topping out your memory, and you have to start, erasing some of your older files. If you have the Ultimate package, it's unlimited storage. So, whatever, you have in there, you can keep forever. So because of that, you could really use this as a total backup cloud storage for all of your contracts. Every file that you receive, you can have it scanned and emailed into your Form Simplicity file for that transaction and save it there forever. Every transaction, which is sort of unique, has its own individual email address. So if you get something emailed to you as an attachment that is part of one of your transactions, well, you can just forward that to the email address for that specific account or for that specific file in Form Simplicity, and it will just save it for you. So I'll show you that in a little bit too. It's very cool. Yeah.
59 per year, that's calendar year, or is that 365 days?
I think it's 365 days. Okay. So if you start it now, it'll renew 365 days from now. Okay, so where do you log into Florida Realtors or Form Simplicity? The best way I prefer is to go right in through this link, forms.floridarealtors.org, and you're going to log in using the same information you would for your Florida Realtors website. So you just log in that way. But there's other ways to get there as well. But this is, I think, the easiest way, and I'll show you why I prefer that. Mainly, if you see right here where it says System Checklist, when you log in through the main website like this, it's going to do, even before you log in, a quick system check to make sure that you have the right plugins for the PDF viewer, you have the right, your browser's working appropriately, and everything's going to be fine. If you skip this and bypass this by using one of the other, quick ways in, you don't see that system checklist. And if you have a browser issue or an Adobe Reader issue, you're not going to see it until you're already in your transaction, you're trying to do something and something's not working right. I'd rather find out right from the beginning that something changed. What does happen is this is technology, this is the internet. So your browsers are going to update from time to time, and usually even more quickly than time to time, sometimes weekly or every couple days. So your browser might have been working fine yesterday. So Firefox could be fine, no problem at all yesterday. And then your computer does an automatic update. Today, something has changed in the settings for Firefox, and that's what you were using to log in, and now it's not working. And you don't find that out until you're halfway through your contract and you can't save it. That's a problem. I wish I could say there's one browser that's always going to work. It's just not. It's just not there yet. Now, Florida Realtors, they are working to switch FormSimplicity over to HTML 5.0. Once they do that, and they are actively right now in the process of making those changes, I don't have a timeline on when it's going to be complete though. But once that's complete, we'll never have these browser issues again, because the same exact browser will work on every browser, every platform, mobile, tablets, everything will work seamlessly. But we're just not there yet. So as of right now, we still have to pay attention to what browser you're using. So I generally use Firefox. If I'm on a PC, on my iPad, on my Mac, I use Safari. So this is the main website to log in. The other way you can log in is through Flex MLS. So if we're using Flex MLS, right under the Products tab, there's the FormSimplicity link there. So just log in, go to Products, and click on FormSimplicity. That goes right into your home screen on FormSimplicity. The other way to log in is go to floridarealtors.org. So if you go to floridarealtors.org, right in this is the main screen once you log in, and in the green up here in the middle, there's some quick links, and the very top one right there is FormSimplicity. So you can click on that, and again, that's going to log you in, bypass the main login screen for FormSimplicity. All right, once you log in, this is your main home screen. From here, we've got 4 big icons that are right there in the center. You've got Starter Form, Forms Packages, Active Transactions, and then Archived Transactions. And if you notice, the same things are right up here at the top. So here is the library. The library is the same thing as Starter Form. Starter Form is forms from the library. Here's your active transactions. Your archived transactions are there. And here's your packages. So it's just a repeat of what's at the top. These are the 4 main files you're always going to use. All right, so Starter Form here. We'll start with that one there. Let me switch over now to FormSimplicity, and we'll get to our main screen here. So this is where we are now. In fact, let me log out, and I'm going to log back in here. Before I log back in, this is where it does the system check. System checklist, operating system, it's in green. Adobe Reader, it's in green. Safari browser that I have, it's all in green. Everything's fine here. If there was a big red X, then I would fix that problem before I moved forward. If I couldn't fix it myself by clicking on the Q&A, from there I would call the helpline. Speaking of the helpline, right up here is the help screen now. They've updated this recently. Actually, I got to log in first. Let me log in, then we'll go to help. Once you log in, they're going to give you a list of messages. I've purposely left these on so that they keep coming up, so when I do the training sessions, you guys can see what happens. But Florida Realtors is always going to give you what's new and what's important. It's going to pop up as soon as you log in. So there was a forms update because of the October 3rd change with the HUD going away and the new closing disclosure coming in. All of the Florida Realtors forms had to change for that as well. One easy place to see that is on our purchase contract. Our default number of days for the loan commitment, it used to be 30 days. That's now changed to 45 days. And then some changes for the truth in lending disclosure, automatic delays there as well. Some new features here for brokers. So there's a really robust broker system already built into FormSimplicity as well. Here's where it talks about, users that are using Chrome, don't use Chrome 45. There's the information about the Windows 10 upgrade, specifically don't use the Edge browser there and things like that. Okay, so over here on the help window, once you log in, you click on help. There's a whole website here, all dedicated to help for the Form Simplicity training here. So there's the knowledge base. If you're kind of the DIY person, you want to just get it done and not talk to anybody, and you think you could probably figure it out if you had some information, you can type in your question here and search a knowledge base, and basically get some technical information to make the settings changes yourself. Training. There's training videos for all sorts of stuff. Here's an hour-long webinar for training for agents. Here's another 4 minutes on using the e-sign. Here's training for the brokers. They also do live webinars. Every couple of weeks they're doing live webinars. You can get those there. There's a bunch of how-to videos. So these are just short little videos that are going to go through different pieces of the program itself, creating a transaction, working the transaction, storing the transactions, contacts, clauses, things like that. So these are great little things because there's so much that you can do in Form Simplicity that even somebody who's been using it for years probably doesn't know all the things that it does, because they're always improving it and they're always putting out new features. So one new thing that's not brand new but fairly new is the sharing tool, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So that's a pretty cool feature. So that's the help screen there. Okay, so before we go in any further, do we have any questions just yet? No questions? Doing good? Okay. All right, what I'm going to start with is the starter form file here. Now what this is the Florida Realtors library. And there's a form for pretty much anything out there. So I'll just scroll through it here real quick so you can see just sort of the breadth of everything that's there. So your purchase contract, your listings contracts, whether you want your listing as a single agent or transaction broker or no brokerage relationship, there's 3 different ones for that. There's the as-is contract, the regular purchase and sale contract, there's the CRSP contract, there's riders for everything. So before you write a detailed clause for something, if it's something that's even remotely commonplace in real estate, there's probably already a rider that's already written by Florida Realtors and approved through the Florida Bar Association. So before you create your own contingencies or riders, check the library, because there's probably something there already. So right here you got the short sale approval contingency. There's the appraisal contingency, the FHA VA addendum, assumption of an existing mortgage. So this is pretty comprehensive, this list here. And there's even for Fannie Mae, so if you're selling a home path property, so you've got the Fannie Mae addendums as well. So there's the purchase addendum, the owner's occupancy certification, lead paint if it's prior to 1978. So you've even got the Fannie Mae stuff there. So let's go back to Florida Realtors. Okay, so let's say we're doing an addendum. And now this is a pretty long list, but you kind of have an idea of what file you're looking for. Instead of just scrolling through the list and looking for it, right over here in the right-hand side, it says Find a Form. If you click in there and then type in what you're looking for, I can just put ADD and then hit Find, and it's going to find every file that has ADD in it. So here's addendum to contract, auction addendum. So in this case, I want the addendum to contract. So let's go ahead and bring this up. All right, now it opens up inside our window here, and now we can complete our addendum. So let's say this is addendum number 1 to a contract that was dated. Let's click on the date. Now, the date is always going to be your effective date for the contract. And then between the seller, let's just put Sally seller and Bonnie buyer. And property is 123 Main Street. And we can put our city, state, and zip there. All right, so now we want to go ahead and put in our addendum. The buyer and seller agree the closing date will be amended to December 15th, 2015. All right, so we want to extend our closing date for that. And now I can go ahead and hit save and close. Now when I hit save and close here, what it's going to do is it's going to ask me where do I want to save this. If I already have a contract in there, which I probably do if I'm doing an addendum, then I'm just going to choose which transaction I'm going to move it into, and it'll go from there. If it's just a brand new file, then I can create a new transaction from there. If I don't do anything and just hit new transaction, so let's do test today and hit save. And now it's going to create a new transaction for me, and then it's going to go into that transaction window. This is going to be, it's going to be in our active file. So if I come back to the home screen here, and I go to my active files, we can see right at the top is the one we just did. So test today, 123 Main Street. And if I want to get back into that transaction, now here's my contract again. If I want to edit this again, I can click on the words and it opens it right up. And there's my addendum again.
Now, can you send that away?
Can I send it? Yep. I'm going to save and close this now. And from here, you see these check boxes over on the left-hand side. Anytime I want to do something as far as sending it, having it signed, printing it, I'm going to check the file that I want to send. And then I'm going to come over here to the right-hand side where it says select command. And here I have the options. I can print this out right now. So if the customer is with me, print it out, have them sign it. I can email it off to the customer. Maybe I want them to email it, sign it on their own, scan it and fax it back to me, or email it back to me. I can fax it to a customer right from here. So if they have a fax number, I can use FormSimplicity to fax it to a landline fax number. I can delete it. I can download it if I just want to save it on my computer. So if you're working at the office and you're not on your computer and you want to maybe save it to a USB stick, you can save it that way. You don't have to, because if it's already in FormSimplicity, just log into your computer when you're home and it's already there. So there's no real need to do that. You can copy it to a different transaction. So maybe you had another file for this customer that you want to copy the same addendum to, or a similar one to make changes. Or you can send it off for e-sign. I'll show you guys the e-sign program a little bit later.
Is that where you apply initial here, initial here?
Exactly. So if I want them to do their initials on the computer or signatures, that's going to be my e-sign. Let's go ahead and email this now. I'm going to email it to, let's see, I'm going to grab Sally Seller. Oh, no, we'll do Bonnie Buyer's email address here. So here's Bonnie's email address. So we're going to email it to Bonnie, and we're going to say test addendum. And then down here is my message. Please review this addendum. All right, and then I'm going to scroll down, and here I'm just going to hit email. Now I got it automatically. My default is to send a copy to myself, so I always see what's the customer's receiving. Then also lock the forms so they can't make any changes. So you always want to be in control of your transaction. So you want to make sure that you make the changes and not the customer making the changes. All right, once you send an email to anybody, it's going to ask you if you want to save that email in your contacts. FormSimplicity has its own contact system. It's separate from what you would have in your MLS. It's separate from your Business Center or any other contact management system. It's purely just for FormSimplicity. So if you want to, if you have customers you're working with over and over again, you're sending them a lot of things, save them in your contacts so it speeds up the process. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and cancel this out.
Will I have my email address?
Through FormSimplicity, no. It doesn't. It'll come from your name. It'll say your name, but it will be a FormSimplicity email address. But the customer will see your name. So let's go to Bonnie's email here and see if Bonnie's received that FormSimplicity email yet. And she has. See, it says my name, Christopher Albanese via, and then the actual email address it's coming from is formsimplicity@formsimplicity.com. So if they don't get it, they should check their junk mail. But 9 times out of 10, even more than that, they're always going to receive it. So now Bonnie's going to get my email. It's just a regular email with the attachment at the bottom. And now Bonnie can open it up on her computer, and she can review the document. So this is just for her to see it or print it or save it. This is not the e-sign yet. All right, back to FormSimplicity. So let's go ahead and go back to our home screen. All right, the next thing that we have here is the forms packages. So what the packages are is you can create your own package. Your broker can create a package for you as well. So let's go to form packages here. What these allow you to do is to speed up your process. Down here at the bottom, you'll see these here. It says personal packages, and at the top it says brokerage-wide packages. So if your broker has already created packages for you, they'll be here. If you want to just create your own, they'll be down here. So if your broker hasn't created packages, you can create your own. So they're pretty simple. Now, the concept of the package is this. I set my packages for, let's say, purchase single-family home. I want to have every file that I'm ever going to need for any single-family home. Now, I'm usually going to have more files than I need in there because not every house is built prior to 1978, so I probably won't need that lead paint disclosure. But I want it in the package anyway, just in case. So I can go to one spot each time instead of going through that whole list of forms each time that I want to. So let's go ahead and create a simple package here. Upper right-hand corner, it says in blue, create a new package, new form package. So I'm going to click on that. You won't have this option here to create a brokerage-wide on your main account. It'll just have personal account there. So the broker accounts will have the brokerage-wide option. So we'll call this, let's say, today training, and we'll call this a listing package and single family. All right, so I'm going to hit save. Okay, so now we're in the bottom again here, and down here it says today training single package single family. All right, so now I'm in the file now, and what I want to do now is add some files to this package. So down here at the bottom left it says add forms to the form package, and we're doing a listing form here, so let's do listing. I'm going to do that in the search. Just type in listing. And I want the exclusive right of sale, but I also want the exclusive right of sale specifically as transaction broker. So I'm never going to do single agency or non-rep, so I'm just going to choose a single agency one. And I'm going to add that to the package and then hit save. So now that's in there. Then let's say we want to add in the seller's disclosure. So just type in disclosure, and there we are. Down at the bottom here, seller's property disclosure residential. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the form package and save. If I wanted to add a document that is from outside of FormSimplicity, let's say my brokerage office has their own document that they want in FormSimplicity, I can upload that from my computer. So as long as I have it on my computer, I can upload it. Over here on the bottom right-hand corner, it says upload a file. This is from outside of FormSimplicity. So I'm going to click on that, click choose file, FormSimplicity class, and yeah, I've got a short sale disclosure form here from Bank of America. So arm's length agreement, and hit upload. So this could be any file. We're just going to use the Bank of America addendum here for now for that. Okay, so now we've got that file completed. So if I come back here to my home screen, once you've created different packages, and you can create one for purchasing the family homes, you can create a separate one for condos. You might create another one there for short sales. You might have a listing packet for residential, listing packet for land. So you create as many packages as you want, and it's going to speed up your process. But when you come back from your home screen, or when you log in again, you go to Forms Packages, and then you're going to go down to, here's today's listing package, single family. And then from here, if I want to create a new transaction from this, I'm just going to create the documents that I need. If I need all of them, I'm going to use the checkbox at the top for forms and the checkbox at the bottom for the files. Then I'm going to go to the right-hand corner. It says create a transaction from this file. What I'm never going to do is I'm never going to work inside the package itself because it'll never save the data back to the package. So I always want to make sure I can save it. So I start with the package and then create a transaction. And then I'm going to give the transaction a name. So typically we're going to use the street address. So let's call this 123 Main Street. And I'm going to use the property address and the name is going to be the same. And I'm going to say the selected forms and files. The default is always all forms and files. You may have 10 or 15 different files in there though. So you may have carefully selected, there's only 7 that you actually want. So switch it over here to selected forms and files, then hit save. And now what this is doing is creating a transaction for you to work on. So the way you should think of this is your packages, let's say you have a filing cabinet and each drawer in your filing cabinet is a different package. So the top drawer is your single family residential listing contracts. So you open up that drawer and everything in there is going to be, something about the listing contracts. Do you need every single file in there? No, but every single file that you could possibly need is probably in there. So you can open up that drawer and then you're going to select the files that you need out of there, the forms that you need, and then that's where you're checking them. And then you're going to take those with you and go sit down and write your contract. So that's taking it with you and writing your contract is setting up a transaction to work on. So think of it that way. Going to the filing cabinet, that's your packages, and then pulling out what you need, that's actually creating the transaction to work on. Now we're in the transaction. So from here, this is where we can go ahead and begin to write our contract.
Okay, so before I go further, what I want to point out is the difference here between forms and files at the bottom. What forms are is the easiest way to remember the difference between the two. Forms are editable, while files are not editable. And what I mean by that is in FormSimplicity, you can open up the listing agreement here and go ahead and enter the address, the seller's name, the sale price, the terms of the listing itself. And you can save that, and that'll be able to be emailed off to the seller or sent off for e-sign. Now the files at the bottom, these are not editable. You can't make any changes on here in FormSimplicity. Now there will be an option later on in e-sign to go ahead and mark up these additional documents. We just can't make any changes at this point. So anything that we open as a file here is going to open up outside of FormSimplicity. Anything we open up in forms will open inside of FormSimplicity and is editable.
So we can start here with the exclusive right of sale listing. So I can click right on the words there, and it's going to open up my listing agreement here. Now from here, I can go ahead and type in Sally Seller and the brokerage office, ABC Realty, Inc. Next, I can create how long is my contract going to be good for. Let's say my listing agreement is going to start today, and it's going to go 6 months from now. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May. And say we're going to go to May 9th. And then from there, I can fill out the rest of my contract, and then save and close or print. Save and close saves it and comes back to this screen here. Just the other option was save. That just saves it and keeps your form open so you can continue working on it. Where that might be helpful is this is a web-based program. So if you have a spotty internet connection, you might want to save more often because you could get through a number of pages of filling in all these blanks and then hit save, and then your internet connection blanks out and you lose all your work. So if you have a spotty connection, save more often. If you have a secure connection, I just complete the whole document and then just hit save and close. And then there's the seller's disclosure. So from here, we can go ahead and send this off, email, print it, fax it, sign it, whatever we want. Okay, so that is our listing agreement. Any questions so far? Nope. Okay. I'm going to come back here to my active transactions. And what I want to do is I'm going to create a new one here. I'm going to go to my forms packages, training file. There we go. Okay, so in the training file here, we're going to use this. We're going to create a transaction out of this here. we're going to use the as-is contract and the addendum. And I'm going to create a transaction. We'll call this test 2 today. And we'll put that again. And we're going to open this up. Because now I want you to see the Contents tab is next. So the Contents tab here is very cool. What this allows us to do is to click on it. And from here, it's almost a back-end window into the contract itself. Now, my favorite thing to do is right up here at the top, the MLS Search. So if this is the listing that's in your MLS, and we're going to use this test account number, RE12345, and I'm going to hit import from the MLS. It's going to go to the MLS with that MLS number, and it's going to find it, and it's going to say, is this the listing that I'm looking at working with? In this case, it is, so I'm going to hit yes. So I'm going to hit select. Now what that does is if I scroll down now, is it puts in the address, the street, the full address, the parcel ID number, the county, the legal description. Everything that's in the MLS is in here. So it quickly helps me fill out the contract faster. Now the weak link with this is this data is only as good as the listing agent who entered it into the MLS. So it is a good idea to review this and double check it and make sure that it's accurate. Maybe by using the county property appraiser's office or tax records. But this does speed up the process greatly. So if we scroll to the top here, if you don't have the MLS number, you can also use the parcel ID number in the tax search, or the street address and the city, state, and zip as well. What I have found is that the parcel ID number works the best. You don't have to fill out anything else at the top, just parcel ID number. You have to remember, though, to make sure you change the county to the appropriate county. Because if you don't change that, it's going to say it didn't find it because it's not in Alachua County. So unless you live in Alachua, you have to change your county as well. Okay, so we've got our MLS information here. Here is the seller's information. So Sam and Sally, they're a married couple. And now the seller's brokerage office, all of that would be in here if this was a regular MLS listing, not just a test account. So then we get down to the buyer's information. So here, we've got a spot here to enter the buyer's name here. This is, both parties will be automatically added here if we add them down below here. So let's add Bonnie and Bobby. So we'll start with Bonnie. And then we'll put Bonnie's address here. There we go, Magic Kingdom, Orlando. And down here we'll put in Bobby. And Bobby's address here. I'm going to copy this from above. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in Bonnie and Bobby's email. So I have their email addresses here. Here's Bonnie. I'm going to put in Bonnie's email there, and I'm going to grab Bobby's email and put Bobby's email here. Now, the reason that I'm doing this is if I enter their email addresses here now, later on when I go to do an e-sign session with them, I don't have to add them again. It automatically just pulls it out of FormSimplicity, so speeds up the process. I could equally put in and do an e-sign session with the sellers as well. So if the listing agent wants to give me the seller's contact information, then I can do an e-sign for all parties all at once. I can later include the listing agent as one of the signing parties as well, so they'll see all the documents as well. So if they're okay with that, then we can get the whole contract done very, very quickly. Okay, then it's going to have your company's contact information here, your broker, and then your information at the bottom. So it automatically puts all that in for you. So bottom left-hand corner here, save the information to the transaction. All right, so now I'm back at my transaction screen here. I was just in this Contents tab. Now I'm just in the Main tab. If I click on my contract now, it's going to open up the as-is contract, and then it's going to have all of that information already there. So I don't have to do it again. Huge, huge time saver, exactly. So we got Sam and Sally, the sellers, at the top, and then we got Bonnie and Bobby at the bottom here. Here's our street address. There's our legal description. There's our parcel ID number. Now here, if we wanted to put in anything else, let's say we want to make sure the washer and dryer convey. We could put that in there. We could put in our sale price now. Let's say it's $120,000. Put in our escrow. Let's say it's $5,000 in escrow. That's going to be made within 3 days of the effective date. This will be the escrow agent. And you guys know how to fill out the rest of the contract there. We'll make this all cash. So balance to close would be $115,000. All right. Then you would just go through your sales contract there. Anytime there's a checkbox, there's a checkbox. Again, we'll make this a cash offer. Check there. At any point, I can go ahead and save and close. I'm going to get down to page 11 here, so you can also see a couple of other things that we can do. So if I want to add in addendums to the contract, so I can add in the riders here. So add in the defective drywall addendum. If I need that, I can add in a homeowners association addendum if I need that. But the other thing that I can do is over here, the insert clause. So if I click on insert clause, your broker may have clauses already prepared and pre-written for you, and you can click on the clause and you'll have your pre-filled out clauses already here. If there's something that you write on a regular basis, let's say the seller will contribute 6% of the purchase price towards the buyer's cost at closing. So let's click on that and hit enter, and it puts it in for you. If you notice right up here it says clauses. If you want to write your own clauses, or there's something you're using on a regular basis, don't do it while you're in the transaction because it'll take you out of your transaction. But create that, one time when you're free, and it'll always be in your clauses section for your personal account. So that can again speed up a lot of time from writing these things out or forgetting to write it properly. All right, and then we're going to end up with save and close at the bottom here. All right, so now we've got that so far. Let me show you another tool that we have over here on this sharing and negotiating tab. First, what I'm going to do is, if you notice over here in this column that says share, I'm going to share the as-is contract. And then I'm going to go to the sharing and negotiating tab. Now here I'm going to have to add a party that I'm going to be able to share with. So since I checked off the share button for the contract, that means I want to share this contract with somebody else. Now let's say in this case, Bonnie, the buyer, wants to see the contract before I send it off for her to sign. Maybe it's a listing agreement, maybe we're just talking about the contract, and I want her to be able to see what I'm doing pretty much in real time. It's not exactly real time, but it's really darn close to real time. So I'm going to add a party here, and I'm going to grab Bonnie's email address. Come back, add Bonnie. I'm going to say contract as a subject. Saying please click this link, because when it sends it to her, there's going to be a link in that email for her to see exactly what I'm working on here. And send the share link. Okay, so again, anytime you send an email to anybody, it's going to ask if you want to save them in your address book. For now, I'm going to cancel. Okay, so now I'm sharing this with myself and with Bonnie. I'm going to go to Bonnie's email. That's Bobby. There's Bonnie. Let's go back to Bonnie's email. And if you notice, she just got a new email from me here. It says, please click on the link below to review the contracts. Let's open up that email. There's my statement that I made. Oh, actually, here's the statement I made, and here is the contract. So when Bonnie clicks this link now, imagine we're Bonnie now. Bonnie's on her computer. And here's the contract. She's going to open it up. This is who her agent is. This is where she can write comments if she wants to, and she can send it back to me. But now Bonnie is seeing the exact contract that I have saved in FormSimplicity. So now we're looking at this, and Bonnie says, you know what? I've reconsidered. I want to make a better offer than 120. We really want to get the house. So let's increase our offer. Let's increase the offer to 125 and make the cash to close 120,000. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going back to my FormSimplicity. Now I'm back on my computer. I'm going back here to my main window. I'm opening up my contract again. All right, so here is the same email or the same contract. So now I'm going to make the change to 125. Down here at the bottom, I'm going to make the change. Cash to close is going to be 120. And now before Sally can see this, no, not Sally, Bonnie, I'm going to have to hit save. This is why I say it's not exactly real time. So if I don't hit save, she won't see it. So I hit save. Now it saves it. Now we can go back to Bonnie here. Now Bonnie still doesn't see the change because she has to just hit refresh. As soon as she refreshes her screen, this is now going to change to the 125. And then at the bottom, it's got the 120. So the changes are pretty much in real time. This is a really great tool if you have customers that want to review the contract before you send it off for e-sign. If maybe you have a son-in-law or daughter-in-law who is the buyer's, acting as their attorney, you can send it to them. You can share it with them as a link so they can review everything before you send it off. If they have questions in real time, you can be there, side by side with them. You've got your computer open, they've got their computer open, and you can do this, make the change, hit save, they hit refresh, and then everybody's on the same page again.
So you'll see her comments right away.
You won't see them live,
Okay.
but once she makes the comment to add the comment, I'll get an email that she commented on it. So if they're not there with me, I'll get an email back that they liked it or didn't like something or want to change. Yeah.
I noticed when you clicked on 125, it kind of turned blue because they still do not have access to make changes.
Exactly. So I'm in Bonnie's screen here. I can click on it, but I can't do anything. So if I hit enter or delete, there's no access there. Yeah. So just a cool tab there. They call it sharing and negotiating. I think they should just call it sharing because you wouldn't really use this as a negotiation. You're not going to work with the other party. If you're representing the buyer, you're not really going to work with the seller over this like that or send it to the listing agent. So I think sharing is more accurate. But just very simple to use and kind of a neat feature there. Let's see here. Our history tab, let me show you that real quick. So this is just a history of everything that I've done with this transaction. So this is just things I've done in the past where I've added the forms. Also what I'll see in here is if I sent this session off for an e-sign, I would see that there as well. So I can always go back and check my progress. I can make changes from there. I can copy the transaction and do things like that. All right, so that's pretty much the bulk of part one here. So any other questions on this so far? All right, so we're going to take a break now, and then we'll come back and I'll show you guys the e-sign portion next.